All right, live from the Export Beer Garden Studios and brought to you as always by Export Ultra, the beer for getting you through turgid Warriors games. This is the Agenda Podcast for Monday the 6th of May.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Welcome in, Lane. As we said, a turgid, torrid affair from the Warriors, and we'll get to that very shortly, but something I wanted to address right up the top from my weekend.
Yeah.
A third person has crashed into my house.
A third person has crashed into your house.
That I know of, because the first person to crash in my house, I don't know when it happened, because it was only one of my neighbours was like, oh, someone's nicked the side of your house here. So
you've got a shared driveway or something?
We've got a shared driveway, and the car park is directly behind my house.
Yeah.
And so often people will try and cut the corner, and a couple of times somebody, and I've never seen it. I've seen it happen once. I saw one person do it. Someone fully clipped it and took the corner off my house one time, and it was months, over a month of trying to get someone in to fix it, and then it was a problem because there was water getting in and blah, 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 blah. And it's just one of the most sickening. I saw the truck show up at the end of my driveway, and then they started revving it like they were going to come up the driveway. I was like, surely not. Surely not. They're going to hit my house. And sure enough, they fucking did. I need to hatch a plan now. This can't keep happening. I can't just let this happen. So I think there's a couple of options available in my mind. One is some sort of PASAG sign or highlighter strip. I don't think that goes far enough to address the problem.
Is there something you can string across the driveway? Like car parking. In the car park they have the dangly sign that if you hit, if you hit this, then you're going to hit my house. Shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun. That's a bit of manual labour. I'm probably going to have to camp out there all day. I'm thinking just a massive row of spikes down the side of the house that keeps getting clipped. So it's you can still hit my house,
but it's going to cause major damage.
Yeah. It's going to destroy your car. Either that or a bollard perhaps would be the other one. So
is it low down or up high? It's getting hit.
Well, this was up high this time because the top story overhangs a little bit, and this was the top of a rental truck. I'm not going to address the gender of the driver. That's not important. But I knew from the moment that they got there, I was like, they're going to hit my house. And sure enough. So, yeah, I think, I don't know, is it spikes? If anyone's out there, please reach out on the voicemail function. How do you address if someone's hitting a part of your house? I mean, my mum's fence just got taken out as well by her neighbour in a shared driveway situation.
Oh no, electrical current? Can you make a something so if you hit it, it just goes through the car and
well, it's hard to. It won't fry you though because the rubber tyres is the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to somehow ground the car as well.
Yeah, I'm going for the more nuclear option, so inflicting some pain.
Yeah, there needs to be something that's so dire, the consequences are so outsized that no one would ever consider doing it again. That it's just not worth getting that close.
Well, yeah, maybe you remove every single bit of foundation from that side of the house, so the next person who hits it, the whole house comes collapses on them.
That's not bad.
It's a nuclear option.
Yeah, and then it's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah,
but,
it'll send a message.
Oh yeah, it'd shock them if they brought my whole house down. But also now that we've spoken it into a microphone, insurance wouldn't cover it probably, would they?
Yeah, we could probably delete this podcast. If we did do it, we could just erase this.
A lot of people would say that we should probably delete this podcast anyway. But
that's true.
Anyway, I just wanted to air that grievance and just discuss just because a problem shared is a problem halved. Also got out and went and talked to the guy who's probably going to hear this as well. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's going to blah, 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 blah. He goes, oh, you're Manaia from the Manaia show, are you? I was like, we're not doing this.
Your missus has just driven into my house.
That's not what's happening here. But anyway, I digress. I may have been upset because I just watched the Warriors loss as well.
Oh, true. You had a really shit Sunday, didn't you?
Rugged Sunday, yeah. Real rugged Sunday.
There was a really, really, really bad game of rugby league happened yesterday at about 4?
Yeah, New Zealand time, yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was, and I knew it was going to be terrible from about an hour before the game because I watched the New South Wales Cup game that played before that.
Yeah.
And the pitch, they just put a new pitch in at that stadium, which, by the way, that stadium is a carbon copy of Mount Smart Stadium. I think it's called McDonald Jones Stadium.
Why did you copy Mount Smart Stadium?
Or did we copy them? I don't know. But if you look at it, the layout's exactly the same. They've got the slippery slope on one end. They don't have the Cave Creek at the other end.
No.
But the two stands are almost exactly the same. But the pitch itself, they'd changed out, and it looked awful. It was like they'd Frankenstein together about 6 different pitches from around the area.
It was all different colours.
It was all different colours. One down one end was like a brighter green that they'd put in there. And the New South Wales Cup game, they had torn that pitch to strips. There were like the divots every time someone slipped over, anytime someone sidestepped or a prop got tackled and their knee hit the ground. It just looked like a paddock that had just been ploughed. It looked ridiculous. And then as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is going to be messy. And it was. And 14-8 was the scoreline in the end. A lot's going to be made of all of the handling errors. I can forgive those in the wet. You know, like rugby league, rugby, there's always going to be drop balls and knock-ons in the wet. But the tough part is the penalties that we keep giving away on defense, the 6 again. We get ourselves in a good position to score, and I don't want to bitch about the rest, but I will. The way that the Warriors games are officiated, we need to score 2 tries for every one that actually counts because they always keep getting pulled back. And we can't do that when we keep letting the other team down the other end. So it was the discipline again this week that killed us. I would say, though, that Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and this isn't just bitching about the refs, that was a penalty try. He jumped up, caught the ball, was tackled in the air. The guy didn't play at the ball at all.
Yeah.
And as he went down, the only reason he didn't ground it was because he was being held up by the waist by a guy who was tackling him. If that's not a penalty try, why would you ever contest the ball in goal as a defensive team? Just tackle the guy.
Like just catch him
as
he comes down, carry him and throw him over the dead ball line.
That's right. There's no point in going up for the ball anymore. You just grab their ankles, let them fall neck first onto the turf.
Snap their neck, I'll let go of the ball.
That's right.
No try.
No try. And all it is a penalty. And it's like, okay, so you are going to either now have to try and kick a sideline conversion or you're going to have to try it again. But if you kick to the air, you know what's going to happen. We're going to break the next guy's neck. There has to be some sort of rule against that. And even when Sean Johnson went over and asked the ref, and he was just like, surely that's a penalty try. And he's just like, look, we just don't give penalty tries in that situation.
I don't think I've ever seen a penalty try live.
In league? Yeah.
You have?
Generally what they are is it's head high as someone's trying to score.
Yeah, okay.
Is when they'll give the penalty try. Which, like, what's the difference between that and then what happened to DWZ?
Yeah.
He was not allowed to score a try because of an illegal play, which, I don't know, how else would you define a penalty try?
So are the Warriors officially in a slump?
Yeah, they've lost 3 games in a row.
And
it's the way they lost too.
And they're 14th now.
14th on the table. They've got a bye in 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
So they've got the Roosters. How are they going?
They have scored 100 points in the last 2 games they've played.
Ooh. Okay, so
they
they're
look
next.
incredible. Yeah.
Then got Panthers on the Magic round.
Yeah, that's a real hospital pass from the NRL.
And then after that, the Dolphins. The Dolphins suck, don't they?
Nah, the Dolphins are cooking this year.
Oh.
They are playing really well.
Oh, so we've got Roosters, Panthers, Dolphins. So
first 15 weeks of the season, the Dolphins left Queensland twice. They have played almost every game either at home or in like North Queensland.
But they're coming to our home though, aren't they, for that game?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
I think it's Dolphins at Mount Smart.
Di said on the commentary yesterday, the next time the Warriors score 2 points in a week, it'll probably be a bye week. The joke that everyone makes around this time of the year is they may not even win the bye. We will, don't worry. I don't know why you get 2 points for a bye. It's very confusing.
Can you bet on it?
Can you bet on the bye?
Yeah.
You want to take out a bit of happiness insurance against the Warriors?
Yeah.
On the bye? Yeah, it's a tough stretch for the Warriors. Kurt Capewar out with some sort of calf injury as well. We'll do a deeper dive, myself and Di Henwood, later on today on the Mad Monday podcast. But yeah,
can you feel the air coming out of the bandwagon tyres?
Yeah,
Can you hear the slow leak coming out?
Yeah, you can. Well, the thing is, you don't hear anything. They just stop. They just stop talking about it.
Yeah, right.
And look, happy for them. You can come back later on. It's a long season. You know, this is round 8, I think, was this week. There's like 26 rounds, so it's a very long season. There's a lot of ebbs and flows to come between now and the end of the season. But yeah, I can definitely feel the bandwagoners. And you could feel it the last couple of weeks because it was all the people who jumped on and they were casual fans of the Warriors. They didn't watch a lot of their games. And then they jumped on this year and they were like, oh, well, I thought the Warriors were guaranteed to win every single game.
Yeah, I thought they were awesome.
Yeah. You're like, okay. Did you? You thought they were going to win every single game? It's like, because that's how we think of the All Blacks.
Yeah.
And so then people that jumped on board were like, oh, they're going to win every single one. Well, welcome to the shit show. This is what it's been like for 25 years, and it's starting to get back that way. So welcome aboard, or farewell. You can jump back on later on when we go on another 5-game winning streak. I don't know. I think the difference has been this year, obviously the defensive thing, but then also I just feel like Sean Johnson had a Dally M like Player of the Year season last year, and he's not having that this year. He hasn't been bad, but he just hasn't been like the best player in the league. And I think we may have needed that to have played as well as we did last year. I don't know. But yeah, plenty still to come. And as I said, deep dive later on the Mad Monday podcast. Time for a quick break. We'll come back and talk a bit of Super Rugby. Big weekend in Super Rugby. A few blowouts, Lane. You commentated 2 games across the weekend, didn't you? 2 blowouts. And the first was the Canes versus the Retards.
Yeah, I mean, right from the start.
Yeah,
they were all over the Waratahs. So it was always going to happen. The Canes were smarting from their loss the week before against the Reds. And unfortunately, this New South Wales Retards copped the bounce back of the Canes down there in Wellington. I mean, it was an okay crowd at the Cake Tin.
Yeah.
But for Christ's sake, you have the best team in the league who are on fire. It's theirs to lose, and you can't get more than 20,000 people in the stadium. What else is there to do in Wellington apart from suck on craft beers, trim your beard, and drink coffee? Like, go to the game.
Yeah, well, those two crowds don't often overlap.
But it's Wellington's a big place.
Yeah, it is.
Get off your ass.
I just think this is another symptom of why, like, the same thing's been happening in Auckland for a few years now since the Blues have been good. And it's like, there's no correlation between that and people actually going to the games.
So what is the problem then?
I think it's...
I know we talk about this all the time.
I know we do. But this is what you're talking about at the pubs as well, so, you know, bear with us here. I think it's what you're competing with. You're competing with staying at home where you're inside, it's warm, your fridge is full of your own beers. Yeah. And so you need some sort of, like, event atmosphere. Free beers would definitely do it. But I think
craft beers in Wellington.
Free craft beers, obviously.
Yeah.
But you do it, Titus.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is that it's like a self-perpetuating thing where there's no one going to the game. So everyone's like, am I going to go and sit in the howling sideways rain where there's no one else there? But if it was people were going, like you see the Warriors, man, you can't get tickets to the games anymore because everyone is going.
It's kind of self-perpetuating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the 2015 Cricket World Cup when people, like, you couldn't get a ticket to the Black Caps games. And you had people asking you, who you never thought would go to a game and go, hey, can you chance you can get us any tickets? Like, well, you've never gone to the cricket game before.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But how do we get Super Rugby back to that then?
You're so right on that front with the Warriors. I got people like ZM, people that work for ZM coming over to me being like, oh, I'm going to the game. I've never been to a Warriors game. I've got no kit. Like, can we borrow a couple of jerseys? And that's never happened before. So how do you get to that situation with teams like the Hurricanes who are playing well? I do think the stadium's too big now. And I think this is a wider problem that's facing almost everyone.
And it sucks to watch there.
It's
a round stadium. So if you're side on, if you're on halfway, which is generally your premium seat for a footy game, you are about, if you're halfway up, you're probably about 100 metres from the sideline.
Yeah.
If you're halfway up, that usually should be your prime seat.
Yeah.
That should be your $500 ticket. You should... Yeah, but it's not.
It's not at all. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the Cake Tin's designed for cricket, but we actually already have New Zealand's premier Test match arena in the same town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think this is a wider thing that sports is facing in general is that crowds are smaller, but stadiums are still the same size. Having said that, AFL had like 90,000 people at a game over the weekend.
Population's getting bigger, so the stadiums shouldn't get getting smaller.
Yeah. Look, I can't answer it.
Anyway, if you move on to the Blues, obviously,
yes,
that was another blowout too against the Rebels. Later on, Rieko Ioane, he got knocked the F out.
Yeah,
I watched that live.
No, I saw the replay.
He did. His eyes. Focused in on him, and he was literally cross-eyed.
Still crazy eyes.
Yeah, and his arm was just straight like that, and they'd set him up, and he was and they went, oh shit, they set him, lay him back down again.
Yeah.
He just got his head in an awkward position on a hip. He got the hip bone.
Yeah.
And
which is no amount of legislation that's going to take that out of the game.
No way. He was actually, because they say cheek on cheek. You got to get your cheek onto the cheek of the ass of the player. He did do that, but he missed by probably about 5 centimetres.
But at 100 miles an hour as well.
And hit the hip bone.
Which means he's going to be out for next weekend, and that's big because they are playing the top of the table Canes. So,
and that's in Auckland as well, isn't it? I believe so. Yeah. So come on. Get down there and watch that. It's the 2 best teams in the competition.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen.
No one's going to show up to it. Yeah.
Should we donate some beers? We have got quite a few dozen Export Ultras in here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just have a stand where you can get 3 Export Ultras.
Yeah.
As part of yours. So you get one at the start, one at half time, and one halfway through the second half.
Do you know, for the amount of time that we've talked about no one going to the grounds, we've never once mentioned that the reason people don't go to grounds is because the stadiums don't have a roof. And yet, when they're talking about doing up a new stadium in Auckland, their number one concern is we need to put a roof on Eden Park. That ain't why people aren't going to the games. No, nobody I've talked to has been like, you know what, I would go to Eden Park if it had a roof. The only person I've heard say that is Matt Heath, and it doesn't rain in corporate booths. So I don't understand why everyone's all of a sudden got a hard on for a roof. I think it's just so that you can give yourself a reason not to make an awesome stadium in the waterfront. I digress. Rico Ioane's going to be out against the Hurricanes next week. That could be big, but that will be probably, I mean, it's shaping up as game of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's saying that potentially is a dress rehearsal for the final.
Yeah.
And the Wet and Wild Landers 28 versus Moana Pacifica here in Tonga.
Yeah.
Holy moly. I suppose that's I read that there's a reason why the Pacific Islands are so lush, green, and tropical, and that is when the monsoon comes.
Yeah,
it comes.
It came hard.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, it was soggy, but it was just great to see the game over there because the crowd was mental. It was like the tree shaking in Lautoka last year. It was just out of control. I was watching one guy, there's a clip on social media, and he's just doing flips into a puddle wearing a Highlanders jersey. Highlanders did a great job of taking merch over there.
Yes, and they gave out, it looked like a home crowd,
yes,
didn't it?
It was a blues, like a blue wash.
Well, you had Falau Whakatava there.
Yep.
You know, he was a hometown hero.
Yeah, no, definitely that. A few players of Tongan heritage in the Highlanders game. And we were saying last week, like, I know this is a Moana Pacifica home game, but a lot of them hadn't been to Tonga before either, so it didn't really feel that way. And I didn't think that there was going to be that big an advantage for Moana Pacifica, and there wasn't, 28-17.
Yeah, good. And the Landers keeps their hopes alive, that top 8. But great to see professional rugby players have to play in those like early 1980s conditions.
Yeah.
Just like literally ankle deep water.
What they should also be able to do is dictate the material of the jersey. So if you're saying, right, we're going to play in Tonga, we're also going to play in those heavy cotton jerseys.
And we're going to get an old Adidas leather Adidas ball with the laces on it that gains about 6 kgs once it gets wet.
Yeah, 100%. I reckon that should all be part of the home field advantage. But it was good to see the games go over to the islands. I think a bit more of that should be on the cards going forward. 4th different venue for Moana Pacifica to play at this week. The Satyrs went down 28-33 to the Reds. Dismal for the Crusaders. Scott Barrett's back out again. I didn't see exactly what it was.
Neither did I, actually.
But he went off in the first half, which is pretty bad. David Havili, I thought, looked good in the 10 jersey, but it meant that they don't have a kicker. So I can't even remember what the guy's name was. So the Crusaders scored a try on a 30-metre skip-out pass from David Havili. I don't know if you saw this pass.
No.
He threw it basically from the left-hand post to the left-hand sideline. Pinpoint. It was a rope. Yeah. Cullen Gray scored the try. They came back for a knock-on, but then they had a penalty, and their kicker from, again, the left post right in front just shanked it, missed the kick. And it was just symptomatic of the Crusaders season, just that little one-phase play, because it was dog roll, knocked the ball on, then got injured, went off. David Havili went well, but then got called back, then they missed the kick. And it's like, this is the
And they try to plug one gap, but they open up another because obviously Riley Hohepa can kick goals.
Yeah.
But they replaced him with Havili, and then they've got no kicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's
disappointing because it really missed our multi as well. Absolutely messed with our multi. Because everything else came through. We picked the Highlanders over Moana,
right?
On the back of you were saying, it's not really a home advantage.
Nah.
But it's just the Crusaders. Yeah,
they're up and down. I think this is another problem with a lot of the bets that we put on, because I put on for another bet that we had, the three-way, was the Warriors to score in the first 10 minutes, but I wasn't to know that they were playing on that dog shit field and that it was going to be absolutely drenched. I also wasn't to know for the Crusaders game that the Reds head coach would be wearing stubbies. I don't know if you saw him in the coach's box, but when he stood up when they scored a try, he revealed that he was wearing stubbies. You're never going to beat a team when their coach is wearing stubbies in the box. They're just going to play harder than you. I didn't know that. I would have changed my bet had I known. Imagine Rob Penny shows up in a pair of stubbies. Yeah, the Crusaders would be unbeatable. So I wasn't to know, and I'm sorry if anyone followed that one in.
And the Chiefs.
The Chiefs absolutely humped the Force, 56-7. DMAC HIA as well. He got a head knock, so I think he might be out for the next week, but that doesn't matter because it's Moana Pacifica.
Yeah, Moana Pacifica. They're at home though. Different team without DMAC though. But our game day good punt came off for the Chiefs because we had DMAC anytime try scorer.
Right.
He dotted down third try, I think.
Oh, perfect.
And also I picked Manaia Stewart as well to be first, second, or third try scorer on the Hodaki just at tip. So won a bit of money on that. But they were dominant from the start, Chiefs man. And the Mana bus is back at home at FML. They've been away for a month. It's
definitely Hurricanes number one. Do you think it's Blues then Chiefs?
I don't know.
Or do you think that it's Hurricanes 1 and then you've got 2A and 2B?
Yeah, I reckon it's their level. I can't
then I
separate Blues. I mean, if D-Mac's out, then it's Blues.
Yeah. But if he's in, then it's pretty hard to separate. And then I think you've probably got like Reds Brumbies underneath that. Yeah. And then the Crusaders need to win every game for the rest of the season to make the playoffs.
Speaking of kickers as well, because Moni, I think they scored a try, the Chiefs, and in that movement, that was when Damien McKenzie got a knock on the head.
Right.
And he went off, and they had no kicker. And they talked to the Chiefs players afterwards because Daniel Rona, I think, backs himself off the tee.
Right.
But apparently Moni Narawa just grabbed it and took it to the sideline. And it was like, that's weird. I've never seen a Moni Narawa kick a penalty. And apparently he just grabbed the tee, the ball, and just ran to the sideline. And he absolutely shanked it. It was so good. I mean, they were winning by like 40 points, so they didn't really care. But he absolutely sprayed it. It was on the right-hand touch, right-hand cooker, and he just hooked it straight across the middle of the field.
I like that. I reckon he knew he was going to do that too. I think he was probably just like, you know what, let's just get on with this.
He's my new favourite player, Moni Narawa. Namely, I mean, he's a great player, loves scoring tries, but also that handshake he did the other week when the Aussie guy stood him up and he just cold down the camera, shook his own hand.
Yeah,
and just gave it the cold stare as well.
When they put the highlight reel of the 2024 Super Rugby season together, that'll be the crowning jewel of that video. Yeah. Just quickly, Greg Paul I saw in the newspaper today. I like to break down the breakdown. His big story was, who's your All Blacks captain at the moment? If you had to name the team.
Obviously, they have to be fit because it would be dog roll for me.
Well, this is the thing. Is it dog roll? He's been out, he's been in, he comes back, now he's back out again. The guys playing over in Japan will be eligible for the All Blacks because their seasons will have finished. So
is that the Cleveland Steamer? So Sam Cane?
Sam Cane hasn't played in 2 months.
We forgot. Did we cover off how he got caught single skiing on Lake Karapiro when he was supposed to be back in New Zealand with a neck injury?
Did he?
Yes.
Who's filming that? Put the phones
on. I know. His girlfriend, unfortunately.
Put the girlfriend away.
So I don't think any of the Japanese guys will come back and captain the All Blacks straight away.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Bad message?
It's a terrible message.
Yeah.
I think they might play just.
Yeah, well, it won't be Sam Cane because he's been out.
Yeah, he's been injured.
But I mean, Ardie Savea.
Oh, yeah, true.
He will start, surely.
Oh, yeah.
If he's eligible.
Yeah, you're right.
So then do you go Ardie? But then if you put Ardie in there, what are you saying to the guys who stuck around in New Zealand?
Work harder and get a contract in Japan.
Is it Patrick Tuipulotu? But then he's not guaranteed to start either. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it might be Ardie Savea. And I think the headlines will be, you can't reward the players for buggering off overseas.
Yes, you can.
I agree.
You can.
That'll be the headline, though.
Work harder, get a better manager to get your contract with a sabbatical in it, win a World Cup, win Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And then you can start swinging your dick around.
Yeah, have done it before as well.
Yeah.
All right, one last break and we'll be back to talk a bit of American sport.
Oh, yeah.
Just a quick update on the NBA playoffs, Lane. I know you don't really give a shit until about the conference finals when there's 4 teams left.
Give me the top 4 so then I can really just get behind one of them.
Yeah, well, I said before that your team that you need to jump on, last year it was the Kings. This year it is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep.
And they played their first game of the second round against Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, who won last year. And Ant Edwards cooked the Nuggets for 43 points. This is his coming out party. He's an absolute motherfucker of a player. He talks shit the whole time. He's giving it to people. He got a technical for steering a player down. He hit a layup over a guy and then just turned around and stared him in the face and got a technical foul for it. He's just taking the NBA by the scruff of the neck at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
My son told me also that he got asked, are you a better player than Michael Jordan? And he went, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he thinks he could win anything. There was a famous interview with him like a year or two ago. They were like, do you think you could win the high jump at the Olympics? He's like, yeah. And they were like, how would you go if you played in the NFL? He's like, any sport, I would be the best at it. And they're like,
give him a cricket ball and say, bowl this.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were like, what about sprinting? He's like, yeah, any fucking sport, I'd win all of them. He is hilarious. He's just what the league needs as well. And he cooked them yesterday. They had no answer for him. Also subsequently tanked my TAB account because I didn't have an answer for that either. I thought they were going to lose. So it is the Cavs just beat Orlando in the first round, so that's the first round over. We're into the second round now.
Yeah.
There's no real big matchups. The biggest matchup would be Denver versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
So Timberwolves have knocked out the Nuggies.
No. This is game 1, so
okay.
They'll keep going. And I'll give you an update at the end of that. But just quickly on the Porter brothers. So Michael Porter Jr. plays for Denver.
Yeah.
Jonte Porter is Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. He's the guy who just got kicked out of the NBA forever for gambling on himself.
Yeah.
There's 2 other brothers. One of them is currently in jail serving a 4-year stretch for vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. And the youngest one just got done for DUI as well. That's all happened in the last week.
Bad time for the Porters.
Bad time for the Porters. God, how's the head noise for Michael Porter Jr. who's playing in the playoffs?
It's all on him.
And then all the other brothers have been locked up for driving drunk. Fucking hell. The Miami Formula 1 Grand Prix was on the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. The Jesse just finished this morning, Monday morning, and Max Verstappen, he's finally being knocked off the top perch.
Yeah.
Lando Norris, McLaren won that one. He's looking pretty quick. There's these weird ones they do in the Formula 1. I don't quite understand. I kind of do, but they have 2 races in a few of them. They have a sprint race, which is like 20 laps or whatever, and then they have the full race the next day. And it's worth extra points. I don't know. I don't understand this thing. It's just
very cricket.
How to make more money. It's like it's T20 of the Formula 1.
Yeah.
Anyway, Verstappen won that one, but Lando Norris got knocked out in the first corner by a Lewis Hamilton missile. He took out 4 cars on the first corner, and it was quite funny actually because it was who's the Spanish driver? He's
You're asking the wrong man.
Fuck! I keep thinking it's
Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, it's Fernando Alonso.
Fernando Alonso. I was
Fernando
close.
Alonso. Anyway,
not the midfielder.
He's going to get done by the marshals apparently because his interview afterwards was like, the marshals need to look into that and he needs to be penalised, but he won't because he's not Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
And the marshals did look into it and they said there's no issue.
Yeah. He sounded like a Warriors fan.
Yeah, that's right. No, but Verstappen came second and the dangerously good-looking, boyish features of Charles Leclerc for Ferrari came third. And good and bad news for the Lawson in the sprint race. Our old mate Ricardo came 4th, so a bit of a comeback for him in that one. But I'm not how sure he went in the main race.
Yeah, I feel like with Liam Lawson, I know he puts a lot of pressure on himself and wants to be in the seat straight away. And I feel like we as a country want that as well. But he's not at risk of getting dropped if Ricardo does well, is he?
No.
He's
the reserve driver for Red Bull. So if
that's right.
The strap-on breaks his hand, he's racing in the actual Red Bull team and could win a race or, whoever his partner is Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
So if they get injured, he's reserved for both teams.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a bad gig.
Nah.
Traveling the world.
Oh, I've always said that's one of the, as much as I take the piss out of motor games, It's one of the tours I'd like to be on if you could be on any sporting tour.
Yeah.
The places they go, the Miami Grand Prix.
Good time.
What's the after party there? Like, that would be out of control.
I have heard stories, though, that the engineers, not the engineers, they get quite a bit, but the mechanics and the guys in the pits and everything, they need a lot of money.
They don't.
Nah. You get a good life in terms of you travel the world.
You can still get into the after party.
This is true. You can still wear the merch and pretend like you're more important than you are.
Yes.
Like America's Cup, we used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s and it was in Auckland, we'd go and buy full merch from one team and tell them we were sailing for a lingy. There was some great work to be done down the viaduct.
Anyway. Straight in, yeah, no, it's not a bad shot. Just quickly before we go, Lane, I just wanted to mop up a couple of stories from the headlines. King Theoden died from Lord of the Rings. I didn't even realise he was still alive. He was like old when they shot Lord of the Rings, and that was 20 years ago.
Who's King Theoden? Is he the guy who was a bit of a pussy who ran to Helm's Deep? Is that the guy?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, yeah.
That is him. And he was also in the Titanic.
Oh, he was captain.
He was the captain in the Titanic, yeah, as well. So rest in power. Valet King Theoden, I forget what the guy's name is. And another story that I don't know if you've been across this, but a second Boeing whistleblower has died after a sudden illness. So he's a former quality auditor at Spirit Aerosystems, which supplied parts to Boeing's. And he went public with claims that the company's leadership has ignored manufacturing defects in one of their planes. Apparently, he's 45 years old, had an active lifestyle, and then all of a sudden took ill and had a sudden death on Tuesday. He was stricken with influenza B and MRSA, developed pneumonia, according to Fox 59. He's the second guy to come out in the last few months and say that Boeing's been cutting corners in production and safety checks, and then to have died shortly after that. What is going on at Boeing?
If they are knocking them off, it's a high-risk manoeuvre. We've got another one. Kill him.
Kill him.
Like, people are going to start talking. Kill him.
Kill him. It's very...
We can't recall all these planes.
It's very Russian, isn't it?
It is.
You know, like just a handshake at an airport, and then all of a sudden you're taken ill the next day, then you're dead.
Yeah, because it's very suspicious, isn't it? Because it said it died of a fast-moving infection.
Yeah. Yeah. Fast-moving infection, eh? Hard to test for, isn't it? Very hard to test for.
45. Only 45.
40, 45.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, it certainly sends a message to any more whistleblowers.
It does, absolutely. And so, just as our last statement on this podcast, I'd like to say that I fully and wholeheartedly believe in the safety of Boeing aircraft. I don't believe that they've ever cut costs, and the fact that they can do it cheaper than the opponents isn't a sign that they're cutting corners. It's a sign that they're better than the opponents. Yeah. So shout out to Big Boeing.
Yeah, they're working smarter, mate.
Yeah. Not a sponsor. We just love and respect their work. All right, let's knock this on the head before we ourselves get knocked on the head, and we'll be back tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the Agenda Podcast. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda Podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.